today I'm here with Stephanie. So Stephanie and I go way back. I was actually her boss for 5 years at our IHG, Intercontinental Hotels Group. And she came over because she won our clean coffee from Natural Force and a mug. So she came over to get it. And so I was like, oh, perfect, you're here. Let's film you. And she was like, yay. So here's your gift. And what I love Stephanie. Stephanie and I connected very, very closely right off the bat because she has an incredible story. And I am going to let her tell you about it. So go ahead.
Well, my story begins long time ago. Me and my husband at the time had started to do foster care. And we were unable to have children of our own. And in the process of doing the foster care, we've had 16 foster children, multiple shelter children that had come and stayed briefly with us. And in the process, we adopted 5 of our foster babies. Well, Todd is my 4th child. And just before Todd came to live with me, I had been doing foster care for another little boy who was Native American. And he had been with us for about a year. And the caseworker had called and she said, you know, the tribe's going to take him. And it was a devastating loss. And I had cried and cried and cried. And I told myself there's no way I could ever do this again. I could never take on a Native American child to have him or her pulled away from me.
Because you didn't just take them on. These kids were...
They were my family. They were my children. They were my life.
And you've done so much. You did so much for them when they came because they didn't come just... they were pretty abused and neglected, and you nursed them back to health.
Yeah, and so, and being in foster care, they don't come from, perfect backgrounds. And so there are behaviors, there are, problems, there are situations, that you love and you work on and you help them learn and to grow and to become wonderful, beautiful people, and so when they called me for Todd, they said, we have a little boy, he will be 9 days old, we need you to take him for shelter care, just short term, he's going to go home to mom. And the first question I said was, is he Native American? And she said, oh, no. And I said, okay, I could take a baby. I can love this baby and work with this mom and reunite them. So I went and picked Todd up. And he was 9 days old, not quite 5 pounds, and just so little and so precious. And he was Native American. And I loved him. And I was scared that I was going to become attached and feel that heartache that I had felt before. And so when I brought Todd home and he was premature and he was suffering from withdrawals. And he would tremble and he would shake, and I would just sit there and hold him and love him. I would set my alarm every 2 hours to feed him, and I fell in love with him. Just reminding myself, he's going home. Todd is going home. And when Todd was a month old, the judge had signed the paper to send him home to stay with his paternal grandmother. And I remember laying him on my lap and dressing him in his snowsuit and kissing him goodbye. And that was on a Friday. The following Monday, the caseworker said, is your crib still up? And so they brought Todd back to me. And I loved him, and he was bonding with me. He was bonding with our family. And in the process, I had started working with his biological mom to get him home to her. That was the goal, is that he was going home. And it was just too much at the time for the mom. And so she decided to leave and to exit out of Todd's life. And the day after Christmas, I received a telephone call, and it was his biological mom. And she said, have you adopted my baby? And I said, no, we're still in the process of trying to find you. Come to court, you know. And she says, will you adopt him? And I said, without hesitation. And when Todd was almost 2 years old, he became legally free. And the judge granted us permission to adopt him and make him permanently ours, on the condition that the tribe did not want him. And so there I was set, thinking about the child that I had before Todd, scared to death. And so they had contacted the tribe, and the tribe, when they finally reached back out to us, stated that they wanted to leave Todd in our custody, and they had no interest in him. And so I'm just so blessed and just so overwhelmed with emotion, you know, that I have these 4 beautiful children, and they are just so incredible and just so wonderful, and so proud of the fact that Todd is Native American. So I was devastated and sad that she didn't come to court. She went above and beyond to make sure that Todd stayed with me. And I'm just, the love I have for this woman is just so incredible. You know, that I decided to find her. And I sat down and I looked for her name in the phone book, and I couldn't find her. And went back, and Todd's playing. He's now 3 years old, playing in the backyard, just a happy, healthy boy. And just so beautiful. And this name came to me. And I went and looked at the name in the phone book, and it was there. And I called her, and I said, my name is Stephanie. I adopted this little boy, Todd, and I'm looking for his biological mom. And it was the maternal grandmother. And she said, let me have her call you. And so she called me, and we talked. And I invited her to my home, and she got to see Todd. And I was a very proud mom. You know, here is my son and another mother for Todd that loved Todd so much to do what she could do to make sure that he stayed with me. And with her, she brought a little boy, and at the time he was 17 months old, and we had a good visit. We were going to keep in touch. And when the visit ended, we hugged and cried, and she left, and I didn't hear anything from her for a couple months. When I received a call from her at the time boyfriend asking me to adopt the little boy who had come to the house with her. So, and that's where Ronnie came and stayed and lived with us. And during the process of adopting Ronnie, the biological mom, has come back into our lives. I'm Mama Steph. I won't say her name, but and she's been part of our lives, and it hasn't been easy. And the roles between us, we have hit heads more than once. But she loves her children. She's had a couple of other children since then. And I love those babies as much as I love mine.
Well, you're an incredible mom, and I know there's so much more to your story, and I'm honored to have been a part of it for so long, or on the sidelines, like watching you go through everything that you've been through. But I absolutely adore you, and thank you for saving those kids, and I know that
They saved me.
So
Thank you.
you're welcome. Well, I love you, Steph. Thanks for coming on. Cheers.